Hello, welcome everybody and everyone. We are your hosts, Elaine and Amber. We're going to be going over the book Onyx Storm.
We have a couple of warnings for you. Our first warning is a spoiler warning. We are going to be covering anything and everything in Onyx Storm, plus the two books that came before it, Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. If you have not read those, go read them. They are wonderful. We are obsessed. But otherwise, stay tuned because we're going to talk about everything.
We also have a rated R warning. This book is a rated R. We're going to be talking about rated R activities. So if you have little ones, put them away, grab your wine, pop, drink, whatever you got, and come and sit down and chat with us with our little book club online.
We also want to go ahead and apologize because we probably will mispronounce some of these words. We are not Gallic trained voice actors. We will do our best. We mean no disrespect to Rebecca Yarros, to her brilliant work, but more than likely we will pronounce a couple things. We are just girls from Kentucky and we
Country
have no other
girls.
explanation.
We are country girls at heart, so we are trying.
Absolutely. This book was incredible.
I loved it.
Yes. So this is theoretically a book club. We're going to be reviewing the book, talking about our favorite parts, theories for what we think is going to happen in the next book, what we think her hidden meanings were, anything and everything. We're just having all the good book talk right now. I guess we'll go ahead and rate it from 1 to 5 stars. So you go first.
I'm giving it 5. Those last 60, 70 pages had me in a whirlwind. I'm telling you, my hair was all over the place. Like I was flipping on my bed. I needed to find Rebecca at that moment because how could she?
I know. It is a 5-star read for me too. A lot of people have said this is their favorite of all 3 books.
What do you
I
think?
I have it tied with Fourth Wing. I really love the first book. I love a slow burn. I love the intimacy of getting to know the characters, but it's tied for me. It's right up there with it. Iron Flame was a little information heavy for me because
Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
a romantic and I'm like, I need some slow burn action. But this one, it was on a whole nother level.
Nothing that I would have ever expected. I did not expect this from this book at all. It was, yeah.
And the answers that I thought we would get,
We
we
did
didn't
not.
get.
We got more
We got
questions.
answers to things I didn't even know we had questions about. And then now we have 14 million more
More.
questions.
Yes.
It's just insanity. A quick review of what this is going to be a very fast summary of what this book was because you need to read it. Basically, it is at the end of Iron Flame, Xaden becomes Venom. And this book is about Violet's mission to save him, find the 7th Den of Dragons, which we find out early on they're called the Irids. Andarn is an Irid, as an iridescent. But she's on a mission to find a cure for Xaden, and all the answers she thinks lies with the Irids. She thinks they're going to know what the cure is. She thinks they're going to know how to defeat the Venom, how they did it 600 years ago. They can fire the Ward Stone and Arisha. She thinks that the Irids are the answers to everything. So she's desperate to find them. They go to the Isle Kingdoms. They're different islands. There was a really cool theme there where each island was dedicated to a different god. I thought that was really interesting. We'll get more into the gods in a minute because I know there's a lot of theories surrounding the gods.
Yeah.
But they found the Irids, and turns out they're kind of buttheads. They're not helpful at all. They are disappointed in Andarna. They're disappointed in Violet. Basically, Andarna was left behind as like a trial to see if humankind could become better or more peaceful. Like, it's nonsense. But Andarna lets them know, which was one of my favorite parts, and I'm going to recite this. She said, you preach peace while only having known its privilege, you are all a disappointment to me. Because that's what they're saying. They're saying humankind, dragonkind, they're still at war, they're still violent. But Andarna's like, you can talk about peace because you live on some distant island. No one's been able to find you. Like, it must be nice.
Right.
You have no clue what we're dealing with on the continent. But they go back to Arisha. That's where they were stationed. And they're all disappointed. I mean, Violet is just beside herself with guilt and failure. Okay, so then there's a small battle, and it's outside the Temple of Dune, and Andarna ends up leaving with one of the other Irids, cuts the bond with Violet. She's devastated. And from there, Violet's kind of lost. She feels empty because Andarna was a huge part of her soul, but she manages to carry on. And then there's a huge battle at the end of the book We find out so many things about so many of the characters. But at the end of the day, to save everyone, Xaden becomes fully Venom, probably goes from initiate to ASIM. Then Violet wakes up and has no clue what's going on. She sees a wedding ring on her finger and she looks at Imogen and says, "What did you do?" And Imogen says, "What you told me to." So no one knows. Obviously, her and Xaden got married because he's fully Venom now and he was the Duke of Tyrandor, so he can no longer be the head of the seat of his beloved country. So he's going to give it to Violet. Do you want to talk about why he has to give it to Violet?
He has to give it to Violet because Bodhi is the brother, and
Yeah.
he can't give it to either one. He was the next in line. So, in order for him to save anybody else from getting the throne, he had to marry Violet, and he knew that she was smart enough and capable enough to
He
hold the
trusts her.
throne. He
Yeah.
trusts her with everything. Yeah.
So throughout the entire book, Xaden is like, "Bodhi, you are next in line. You have to be safe." And Bodhi's pissed off the whole book.
That was the ultimate like slap in the face. Look, you're not telling me what to do. I'm not going to be next in line of anything. My job is to be right next to you, and
He
that's what I'm
says,
going
"I'm
to do.
your right hand man until you
Yes,
fucking die." So
yes.
basically, he turned Venom just so that he wouldn't have to take the throne and he could be his right hand still. It is insanity.
You're not going to tell me what to do.
Right. In the whole book, he's aggravated. He's like, "You
Yes,
better handle your shit because I'm not gonna be the king of
yes,
Risha. That was never my
yes.
path." Then at the end, Zayden's in this cave with Berwin, who's like a sage, Bennett, and his new brother.
But
And they never say who the brother is, but I think it's pretty obvious with the marriage.
but Berwin is the one that he was supposedly had killed at the end of when he first turned
Right.
Venom.
He didn't kill him.
Get out of here, Venom.
So he became a Venom for nothing because Berwin still
Because he
lives.
still lives. Man, this is ridiculous.
That the brother they're talking about is Garrick. And there's really no way that we can disprove this because Garrick walks away from Imogen. And that's the last time we see him is in her POV chapter. And she says, "Where are you going?" And he says, "I'm going to go do something."
Right.
But it doesn't say. But I think all the contextual clues from the entire book about Bodhi being next in line and Bodhi saying, "No, I'll be at your side." And there is an interesting part where Violet is fighting Theophany, the like Maven Venom, and she says that her tornado is lessening and it's weakening. And Violet had thought that it was because she didn't want her drawing the lightning from the tornado. But what if Bodhi was
Counter.
literally channeling so that he could, because what's his signet? He's a
Counteract
counter.
it.
Yeah, so he was draining the earth and channeling so that he could weaken the tornado.
And also, being that Bodhi's is his signet is a counter, he can present that to the Venom like, hey, it won't do much on my end for you guys, but if I'm on your side, it'll do a whole lot to them.
Right.
It'll be way more beneficial to you guys than it is to them if I counteract their
Right.
signets. And
And there's
that's
a
one
part
of the
where
most
Imogen
powerful
says she
signets.
sees Bodhi retching in the town square. And to me, that's when he channeled.
And also, I think that 2 weeks that was left off in the first beginning of the book, we didn't know any of Zayden's first initial symptoms. We didn't know if he was throwing up. We didn't know if he was doing anything, and that could have been
Right.
him throwing up. Could have been a symptom of him turning venom.
And another thing that makes me think it's Bodhi is that they say the dragon of the brother is unconscious, being
Mm-hmm.
guarded by seven wyvern.
Mm-hmm.
And Bodhi's dragon was extremely hurt. I mean, there was a hole through its wing, a slash in its chest. Nothing that was fatal, but that
But
dragon was definitely injured. So that
absolutely,
would line up with the unconscious dragon in
Mm,
the field.
that makes
It's
sense.
it's definitely Bodhi. And it makes me sad. I don't want it to be anyone. There isn't someone I would prefer it be, but it makes me sad that he he broke that trust with Zayden. I mean, he was Zayden's next in line and like
I think
irresponsible.
there's a bigger. I think Eric is big in this coincidence because he's precog. So I think that there's been a plan from almost the beginning of the book about what was going on
So
because
you think that Xaden and Eric were in cahoots
cahoots.
and were
Mm-hmm.
planning this whole thing this whole time?
If you look at the context clues, because I can't remember what page, but it was always protect him. He don't.
There
Jaden
is
was.
one part where Xaden says somebody I'm uncharacteristically fond of or
Mm-hmm. I
loyal
have.
to or
Yes,
something, and
that's what it was.
he's talking about Eric.
And also when I forget what part it was, but he also said that hey, make sure that the first years are safe, especially that one, pointing at
Especially
Eric.
that one. Yeah. So we find out after the battle or during the battle that Eric is a precog, which means he can literally see the future, which is a huge signet that is insane. The fact that and one thing I want to talk about because it makes me really nervous is there's a part in the beginning of the book before we find out that he's a precog where he says they're having dinner with the they're having dinner with the leaders in the Island of Wisdom, where Zayden's mom was. And he says, my brother Halden will be king, and I will most likely die defending defending those who are worthy of it. I'm like, so he's a precog, so is he telling us right now he's not making it through the 5 books?
So I think so because he's doing a lot. Like if you think about it, he did a lot of work in those last few pages. You don't think he did?
No, I do. I don't want to lose.
You don't want to listen. I
He's
know. I
my
like Eric.
second
I
favorite
know.
now. Like it goes Riddick, Eric. Like I
Yes,
love his dry sense of humor,
me
his
too.
self-deprecating. I love that he has their back. He literally says, Holden's not going, I'm going. I'm not gonna let him ruin this for you. Like it's too important.
But guess
And
what?
I
He
really
is. Guess
in
what
a
he is? He's perfect, and
in
there's
a
no growth.
perfect world,
And
in a
she's gonna
perfect
kill him
world,
off.
he's going to be king of Navarre. Kat is going to be queen of Primorial, and maybe they get married. I don't know. Zayden and Violet rule Orisha. Like that is I.
Rebecca is not gonna get me this time because she had me in a whirlwind. I feel like she said that the reason why she killed Liam is because he was perfect. There was no room for growth. How is Eric gonna grow? He's perfect. He's the perfect person.
He's the perfect person to lead Navarre. He needs to be the king. His brother sucks. His
Ass.
brother's the worst.
He sucks ass.
He
And I don't
is the
even know
worst.
what
He
I don't
cannot
know
be
what
king.
I don't know what Violet saw in him. I don't.
No. I do love the jealousy though. That was
Oh
one of
yeah.
my favorite parts between Zayden and
Remember
Violet.
I was
I
telling you I was like,
love the
oh
jealousy.
yeah. He brought it was so much okay, so with Violence, her confidence, this book was top notch, top
Oh yeah,
tier.
for sure.
It was great. And Jaden, he was perfect too. Like even though he was fighting this venenism, he was like, I'm not gonna run. Hey man, I'm gonna be by you. And
Right. He said I should, but I can't.
I can't do it. Yes, I
When
love
he
it.
says, "Yes, love, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of the armor that holds you and I can't. The sheets on your bed that caress your skin every night, and the blades in your hands."
Let a man tell me that, baby. Come
That was like my favorite love declaration. I love a jealous man, and that was like my favorite love declaration of the whole book. I'm jealous of the sheets that caress your skin at night.
Yes, the romance, even though it wasn't thought to
It
have
was the most
romance,
romantic book of the
and
series
so it was the most romantic book of the
because
series.
I
It
mean, the
was it
spice
was
was there,
great.
but it was the most romantic. When he buys
Yes.
her that silk and Deverily and has that nightgown made for her.
And you know why he did that? Because remember when Kat tried to seduce him with that silk Deverelli? Oh no, I'm gonna get her a nightgown and a robe.
And a
How
matching
about
robe.
that? Yes.
And then the engagement ring or the wedding ring is one of the emeralds from his sword of Orisha. Like he's been
He's
planning this. That
for
shows you he has been planning this
he's
for a
been playing.
while.
Hmm.
Whether he was planning with Eric as like a this is going to happen, or he was planning as like a backup in case
So
it needed to happen.
so I think that with Eric's precog, he's seen that Zayden was finished. And he knew that Bodie was going to do what he was going to do. So, like, hey, we need a plan. Like, we got to do this. And I think that before they start going to the house, I think that they start planning, because you got to think that when he no after they went to the house, it was missing, the emerald was missing off of the sword.
Right.
So I think that after they came back from the owls, he went on and started planning and making that ring. He already knew what he was going to do, because they fell up short with the Eric's. Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about some of these signets, because we found out some more signets.
Oh my goodness.
Eric is a distance wielder, which we had that one because of Rebecca's interviews. Only because of her interviews, because she said, in one interview, they said, what's your favorite signet? She said, distance wielding, because my kids live on opposite sides of the country and I would love to be able to get there. And then in a separate interview, someone said,
Garrick, yeah.
She said, who has your favorite signet? And she said, Garrick. So we knew that one was coming.
But we did not know Riddick. Riddick can he can freeze people's blood inside
Riddick
of them.
may be one of the
six. I got him as one of my six. I do. Imogen's is really good too, because they said they haven't heard of a earth wielder haven't had an earth wielder in a long time.
Right. She's like a rock wielder or an earth wielder. And Sawyer on page 62 says it's been centuries since we've had an earth wielder. So that one's a big one too. We know Eric is precog. I mean,
and then Violet.
Oh, yeah, the dream walking.
I think she's a mind walker. I think it's gonna. I think like
you think she's gonna be able to develop it? I think so too.
Because she was, and I think there is, like Zayden was telling her, it's very, very dangerous. I think it is the.
Well, everyone says that. The Eras say, and what gift have you given her? One even more dangerous. They keep talking about how dangerous it is to be a dreamwalker, and I think in this book we don't really see it because she's just starting to understand it. But I think, and Berwyn is a dreamwalker, so she is his like counter for that, right?
She's from Kruger. She went in Zayden's dream. The first time she didn't do anything. The second time she was able to distance herself from him, and he was and so I feel like she will be able to kill people. She will be able to literally without no evidence.
Yeah, I definitely think she's gonna find the answers in their minds. I definitely think she's going into the Venom minds, and she's gonna figure out what it's gonna take, what can kill them, what the answers are, because there are Venom that are hundreds and hundreds of years old. So she'll be able to go into their minds and figure out everything.
Yes. What do you think? I don't know. I still don't know what I think. The second signet is.
Before we move on, in Iron Flame, I feel like that was the first time
she's dreamed. Yes,
but it was a fantasy. It was one of. Do you remember the throne room where Zayden's fantasizing about bending Violet over on the throne, and she can feel his desire, feel his need, everything. But it was like a daydream. He was awake and fantasizing about it. That's why I said I think she's a mind walker. Yeah, and she was able to do that. So I don't think people are going to have to be asleep. I think she's going to be able to do, she's going to be able to build it for sure. Yeah, she's going to be the worst form of intensity. And Sawyer's is wielding better. I don't have him in my, no. Sawyer's is, I don't think Sawyer or Rhiannon.
I'm sad for Rhiannon. I don't think she's going to make it. I think she's one of the ones that's dead at the end. What do you think? I think it'll be Rhiannon or Mira. I think she's gonna lose one of them. I just don't know which one. Probably not Mira, because she came so close in this book. But that has been my prediction since Fourth Wing, that one of the leading females in Violet's life will make it to the end. I just feel like that because I feel like she would have been in the room when she was waking up. She would have been there. You think she's already dead? Yes. They said there was 4 missing writers. Well, Bodie and Garrick, that's 2. Or not Bodie and Garrick. Sorry, Bodie and Zayden. That's 2. So and then they said that there were dragons dead too. Dragons, not just one. Dragons. I don't think she's dead yet. I don't think she's dead. Not yet. I think she might die, but I don't think she's dead yet. Because Rhiannon in this book, while she's Violet's best friend, she took on a huge leader role. She did. So when Violet woke up, she may have been with the second years or the first years or leading her squad. I mean, she took on even
when she wanted to like look out for Violet in the battle. Like her and her dragon were both like, no, we have to focus right here. This is where we're. And Violet's, and when Theophany has Violet on the ground and she's like, how will you save everyone? She's like, I don't have to because she's the best of us anyway. And she's talking about Rhiannon. Rhiannon is their leader. So
Yes.
I hope she's not gone.
I know.
I know, while we're speaking of the dead, Quinn's death made me cry. And I literally shed tears. And I wasn't even that attached to Quinn.
It was the Imogen.
It was Imogen's reaction that had me bawling. Like when Quinn says we made it a good one, and Imogen's remembering their walk up the turret when she says it's gonna be a short friendship, and she says we better make it a good one. Oh my gosh, I bawled like a baby.
Took me out.
Yes.
It's like I don't even know her for real, but good.
I know I'm not even that I'm not connected to Quinn. But I am connected to Imogen, and Imogen is always so tough.
And she was vulnerable, yes.
It broke me.
And then Garrick being there too.
I need their relationship to take off.
I do too.
There are a few relationships that I'm looking forward to.
No, Big Daddy is great. Get him some. See back to home.
I have quickly forgiven Dane. Like I know he's a hard character to like after Fourth Wing, but I always kind of felt like he just trusted his dad and the rules and everything. Like he shouldn't have. But
now he's starting to see.
I love Onyx Storm Dane.
I do too. He was perfect. He was with everything.
He had their back every time they asked him. Yes. And this whole thing with him and Sloane, I am here for it.
I am too. And she's giving him, ooh, I like it. I like it
when she says, I'm going to hurt you, and he said, God, don't I know it? Dang!
We did not expect that from you, sir.
Like, I love it. And then she's like, you're stronger than you should be. And
what do you think about that?
I just think he's strong. I don't think it means anything. I just think he's incredibly strong. I think that he's just really powerful, and she wasn't expecting that. But I hope it doesn't mean anything, because don't build me up, just knock me down. I'm
sorry, but for him to be so powerful that she feel Brennan that was almost burnt out with his power. I don't know.
Stop it. I need them to fall in love and live happily ever after. So let's talk about this bitch, Zayden's mom. Because I wanted to hurt that heifer. I did too. Oh. I felt so bad for Zayden.
Me too.
Oh, it wasn't until he found the other kids. Like that was when I lost it. Because before that, she's talking about her, like, basically like a contract marriage. She went to Tyrrendor to marry his dad and have Zayden. Like that was her job, was to provide an heir. And then she was allowed to go back to where she came from. Zayden is hurt because he's like, why would you leave your child or take me with you? And she says, he was never going to let me take you. Like you were the heir to the throne. But still, it was a very selfish thing to do. As a mother, you don't leave your children in another country. I don't care about contract or not. I don't care if your husband loves you, because he clearly didn't, because there's an excerpt where he says, love and marriage is stupid. Save your love for your children. So he didn't love her.
But to leave your baby on his birthday with chocolate cake and
chocolate cake on his birthday,
bitch, I'll smack you. Like, stop playing with him. And that's why
I know.
And then you see,
it was really hard. And then it's almost like she wanted your sympathy. And I was like, there's none for you. Like,
we don't mess with deadbeat moms. Sorry.
No. And having this whole other family and like okay, so you had a contract marriage and you felt like you needed to leave. He didn't love you. Where have you been the last 10 years? Where were you when you found out that they killed his dad?
Right. That's what I'm saying. You could have at least went back to check on your baby, but you said, no, I'm going to make more babies that look like you.
My new husband, who's a jerk, terrible guy. Like, he's not.
But that's when badass Violet came in. You want poison somebody? I'm going to show you.
Right. And like, that was insanity. Like, poisoning Garrick. I thought for a minute we were going to lose Garrick.
I did too. I thought we was going to lose Riddick with the cook.
Yeah.
My heart was like, literally, when I tell you, I slammed my book so hard because I was like, this is not it for him.
Well, yeah, because he says, because he says that was unfortunate. And that sounds like something Riddick would say, like right before he falls on the ground.
Right. I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna joke to the death of him. Like, what is this?
No, I'm so glad it was just his flight leathers, and I'm so glad he kicked that cook's ass for tearing
Yes.
up his flight leathers. I
While
love
we're,
Riddick. He's my
while we're
favorite.
on the subject of Riddick, yes, let's
That's
talk
the one
about
I'm
him.
scared of losing.
But she almost like it was. I was watching one of her like her interviews where she does live in front of people, and she said it's good seeing Riddick transform and grow and show that he's just not a comedic relief. He's gonna grow in the next two books. So
Yeah,
I'm guaranteeing. Well, she's guaranteeing that we're gonna see him in the next two books. So
good.
I'm happy for
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
he's a great friend, and he is our comic relief. But like when he said, just because I'm funny doesn't mean I'm not just as badass as the rest of you all. Like, I'm here for
Also,
it.
the time when he got Sawyer about that bed, when he was like, "Listen here, baby, I love you and all, and I know you lost your leg, but you are right. Just like up. Get up and get these clothes on. Come on."
Right, right.
I
You're so
loved it.
right.
I loved it. I was like, okay.
That was one of my favorite moments too, is when Sig lowers his shoulder so that Sawyer can get up. Because like at first Sawyer was like, I don't want to have to ask you to do that. But his dragon was like, you lost your leg saving my life. So
Yes,
you're not asking me. Like, I'm gonna do this for you.
yes, it
I
was
love
good.
it.
It
The
was good.
dragons are one of my favorite parts.
I know, and I liked in the different POVs that we've seen the interactions between the dragons and the different dragons and the different writers. It was good. I like that. And I think that the dragons actually fit their personalities
Oh,
to a
for sure.
T.
Oh
Because
yeah, because Riddick and his dragon are like throwing sand on each other and getting each other back for pranking each other. And I'm like, that's so funny that their personalities match, just like
yes, and,
Violet and Taryn and Zayden's like kind of shrewd, and so is Sigel. And
and then
it's funny how they mirror each other.
yes, and Imogen's also was like put her Imogen dragon was pushing her like knowing she's not a quitter,
They're
pushing
counting
her.
they're counting their kills. Like
Yeah,
18, they're arguing about it. Like, no, you just injured it. So and so killed it. Like you can't have that one.
I think I would like her as a dragon.
Yeah. I think you're kind of Imogen like, so that makes sense. I really hope Imogen and Garrett get together.
I
I
need to. I need it.
that I really want to see Imogen and Garrick end up together. I'd really love to see Sloan and Dane. I want to see Sloan and Dane's relationship unfold though. I want to see theirs
What
grow.
I need to. What about Mira and
And Drake,
yes, Mira, yes. I'm excited for that one too
I
because
am
I
here
think she
for a
might
Mira
Drake eat
Drake
Drake.
relationship as well because their playful banter, that was
Yes,
very
it was good.
and
Yeah.
what this is what I feel like. This is probably why I don't want. I really would love to see a Cat Eric and hear me out. Hear me out. I know you said Eric is probably gonna die, and we're not crazy about Cat. But Kat has lost Zayden. She never had him, but she was in love with him and lost him. Then she lost Traeger.
No, that was rough. That
And
was
I'm
rough.
like, can she just like end up kind of happy? Like I feel kind of bad that she's lost anyone she's ever really felt.
I get it, but has she not been an asshole
She
in the
has,
other books? Then maybe she
but Violet and her have sort of come to like a mutual understanding.
understanding. Yeah,
They're not like friends, but
she's still on my shit list.
she's like, no, I don't care.
You know,
Eric's too good for her.
absolutely. I would never. Our brother needs somebody else.
Okay. Let's talk about the gods. Because we have the god of war and combat, Dune. I don't know. You have the god of love, Loyal.
The God
You
of luck,
have the god of luck, Zenal.
Zanal,
The god of death, Malik.
Malik,
And then the god of wisdom. How do you pronounce that?
mm.
He
Help, he,
Hedion.
heavy, yeah,
Big H.
yes.
So those are the god. Well, we went to the Isles, and the first one that we went to worshipped a god was Dune, and that's where we start to figure out about Violet's silver hair. Like it all started to come. Like every one of the temple attendants, every one of the priestesses had this silver hair, and Violet is like, this is just not a coincidence. Something is going on. And then her grandmother, come to find out, her father was going to take her to get dedicated and become a what do they call them, like a priestess or an attendant of the temple, and that's when Violet says, I don't think we knew either of our parents.
Because I got a lock on her daddy.
it is so out of character for him. Out of everything that we've read, for him to take her to be dedicated as if something was wrong with her, or to choose her path for her, it's very out of character.
Okay, so let's speak on her dad for a second. First of all, he goes by 3 different names. Okay, he goes by Asher Sorengale. He goes by Colonel was it Dasher or whatever his name is. He had 3 names. I can't remember all 3 names, but he had 3 names in the court in the top little paragraphs at the top. Okay. Um, he I feel like, because remember when Theophany said your mom knew she wasn't powerful enough or something to that sort? I think that when the reason why he took Violet to go get dedicated is because maybe Theophany was what kind of attacked Lilith while she was pregnant with
Violet to make her weak.
To make her weak, and he was going to dedicate her so that she wouldn't be bitten or whatever the case may be. I think it was something of that nature to where he took that baby and went to the Isles and took her to get dedicated. I feel like he's got so.
You feel like he had some reason, like there was a purpose.
Reason, and to the point to I feel like he's not dead. I'm gonna tell you why. Just
I have a theory too, so let's hear yours.
Okay, so my theory is that okay, so in the top correspondence again, Lilith wrote to him about Violet's 2 romantic people that she had. Okay, he died when she was 14. She didn't have no 2 romantic people when she was 14. She didn't start having. She didn't get with was it Halden until she was 18. A little bit before she went to Bascopia, so that he was one of them. So how would she be writing to him about the 2 romantic people if he was already dead? I don't understand that. And I'm just saying, I feel like Lilith knew he wasn't dead. I'm going to
say devil's advocate and just say, well, maybe she was just journaling.
Okay, none of these people are that symbolic to this journal. No. No.
Okay, I think Violet's dad is Venom. And this is why.
I agree with that too.
There's 2 or 3 times in this book, in Onyx Storm, when they talk about everyone recognizing Violet because of her dad's eyes. Like the Zayden's mom's husband, the guy on their government, he was like, I should have known you were Asher's girl. Your eyes are exactly the same. And there's a couple different times that they say this throughout the book. So I'm thinking, wouldn't it be wild if Zayden recognizes Asher because of his eyes, even though they're red, but they're still Violet's eyes?
And guess what else? Vinny was getting through the scribes, and who was the top scribe? Violet's daddy.
And when Theophany and Violet are in the middle of their fight scene, in the middle of their before Miguel comes and swoops her up, Theophany says he will be so happy when I bring him to you, or bring you to him. So who?
But they also said it in Iron Flame too. Remember when they was like, "Oh, he's gonna." They keep saying that. Yeah.
Who is he?
And also, remember they didn't go to a couple of the Isles because they
didn't.
I think he's hitting up one of the Isles.
I do think there's going to be an Isle of Loel, the goddess of love, and I think that's where the Irids are. Mm-hmm. I think they're on the
Daddy is hiding on the Isles, and I feel that way because he did so much research on them. He knows them in and out. He knows where to hide. He knows where to not be seen at. I feel like that's where he's at, hiding. I don't know.
Maybe he knew a precog.
Oh, maybe. I agree because I'm sure that
all the clues and stuff he left for Violet's like he knew she was going to need this stuff.
And stuff addressed to Violet.
Information.
Like, what do you mean? You walking around following me, sir? What do you mean? It's right here this whole time. Stop. Also, Eric being fluent.
Oh, I loved it.
Buddy, look.
Picture Dane's face every time he starts speaking in one of these other languages. Like, why have I been staying up all night long trying to learn these languages when you were fluent?
What I sent you.
It's so funny. That one and the chocolate cake meme are my favorite. Like,
that's how I imagine Dane. Like, I sit up because Dane was really studying. Like, he was really studying.
language from scratch every 2 or 3 weeks, like really trying. And it's always after Dane like says some shit in this other language and like fails miserably that Eric's like,
okay, I hate those.
like all diplomatic and perfect. And then
That's
Dane's
great.
head snaps to Eric.
What about when they got to the Isle of Luck and that they smacked the hell out of Dane and he
Oh
had to
yeah.
thank them? Like, God, I laughed so.
You just know Zayden was like smiling from ear to ear.
Pretty sure they had to turn around. Hit the
Oh my
mirror, had to
gosh.
turn around and try to hold, and then 5 seconds later, Trey was gone. Like, killing me, Smalls.
I do think that all these gods are going to be the key to everything. I
I do.
think that Violet's been touched by Dune or done, and I think she's going to be touched by Loel. She may have even been touched by Malik because she says all the time that her and Malik have a close relationship because of all the people that she's lost.
I'm starting to agree with it.
But at the end of the book, when Xaden is channeling all that power to kill all these wyverns, to kill Theophany, to kill, and he locks away the last piece of his, he hears Violet say, I love you through the bond. And he says he locks away that one last piece of his soul. That one last, he locks
It's
it
in
away.
the ring. It's in the ring.
You think so?
And I think he made the ring a rune.
Okay.
I think, and that's gonna be his soul, and I think that that's gonna be part of how she gets him back. Because remember, he kept asking Sigel, like, "Is there anything left in me? Is there anything good left in me?" And she's like, "I don't know." And I think that he really, when she said, "I love you," I think that he realized there was just a tiny bit left, and I don't know. I think that for some reason, I think that
I
he made it a
think
rune or
that
something.
one piece of him is definitely going to be what unlocks his.
Absolutely. And I also
But
think something is important about these runes. On the top of each book, there's a rune, and it's different on each book. But these are runes on the books, and
I don't.
I feel like that's a key to something. I don't know, but I feel like it's a key to something. The runes. I
When
don't know.
when they talk about souls in the book, they mention the souls a bunch of different times. They say Malik doesn't let souls linger. He doesn't let them linger, so he collects them. So
Mm-hmm.
if he has collected Xaden's soul or any of these Venon's soul, could he give it back?
I'm sure he could. I think that he could.
And then there's a part where it says, let me find the line. Love and war change souls irrevocably. I think Violet being touched by the gods is
She's
what, and her having that one piece of Xaden's soul is going to be the key to, and she's pure power. So something with all of that is going to help her bring him back.
But you know when Taryn talks about her signet, he doesn't call her a lightning wielder. He
No,
says
it's
you
pure
command this.
power.
No, he says you command the sky. You command the skies. And I feel like I don't know. I feel like she's gonna be. I don't know. I don't know how to say it, but I think it's gonna be a descendant of a god or something. Something. She's gonna be super
Off
duper
the
powerful.
wall theory that the Irids pull power from the sky,
Mm-hmm.
and that the brother of the original first six, the Dragon Rider, he put it into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard a theory that the dragons and the humans that are bonding through the magic,
They're
they're the
pulling from
ones
the ground.
the Irids are talking about when they say that they are corrupt. Because
Yeah.
they're not supposed to be doing that. The magic belongs in the sky. It doesn't belong in the ground. So they are corrupt for bonding. They are corrupt for pulling it from the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And Irids say those that are corrupt will either look at themselves and change or they will die off. They're talking about people and dragons. They're not talking about the venom.
Right.
And someone said that Violet will be able to put the magic back into the
sky.
it belongs.
I can see that happening. You know, my
That would be
mind
crazy.
is. You know, my
That would be
mind
crazy.
is imaginable, so I can see that happen.
Anymore. Like, and I know that they were never supposed to, but it makes me sad.
But I feel like I don't know because the ears are special. Okay, so let's talk about Endorna because that smacked my soul when she left. When I tell you I was pissed off, like I was livid because what do you mean you leaving? What do you mean? And then
I wasn't mad.
pissed. Like
Because
I'm not shedding to it.
because every possible path. I think she left with that motive in her mind. She knew they weren't going to take Violet. She knew this was the only chance that Violet had of getting any information on the Arids, getting any information about how to cure. In her mind, I think she made that choice because she's like, every possible path. I'm going to do this. And that's why she comes back.
I get it, but then okay, so
It
because
hurts me.
I think that she came back because I feel like their time is different. I feel like she was only gone for 2 weeks in our eyes. I feel like maybe she was gone for maybe a year or 2 or 3 and came back with information because why would she come back so quickly? Is she because she cut the bond? Like I feel like she cut the bond off. Well, they didn't cut it all the way off, but they just like froze it, I guess. Push paused on the bond. How did she know she was in danger? How did she know she needed her? Like I want to know those. I want to know that, and I feel like the time for on the island of the Aries or wherever the hell she went, I feel like it's
slower.
it's faster. Like I feel like it's way faster than the time at Mauritia or Navarre or
I
on the
mean, that
continent.
makes sense because when she was a Feathertail before she got her power and grew up, she could
Stop
stop.
time.
Yeah. So that would
So
make
I,
sense.
yeah, and I feel like she does have the answers now, and that's why. Because okay, so
I do think she has answers, but I do think she's done some stuff too.
you think, well, she, oh girl, what you think she did?
So at the very end of the book, Violet reaches for the bonds between her and Xaden, and there's nothing. There's nothing there.
Oh, I think she did that too.
She reaches for Taryn, and he's sleeping. And Darna says he needs to recover from what? He was fine 12 hours ago during the battle. It says in the book, when the Irid is talking to Andarna, he says, you can break the bond because you weren't even supposed to have that bond. You are pure magic. You can do whatever you want. You are the one that made it. You are capable of breaking it. I think Andarna broke the bonds between Xaden and Violet and Sigel and Taryn.
I think that she did that too. And I'm gonna say that because when Violet woke up, and it don't matter what state of Violet was in, if she calls for Taryn, he's coming. He's the overprotective, grumpy. Even though he's overprotective and you calling on him, he's still grumpy. He didn't answer at all. He didn't say anything.
She could barely feel him. He was groggy, and Andarna needs to recover. The only thing Big Bad Taryn would ever need to recover from is losing
his woman,
his love, Sigel.
Yes.
And Sigel would leave with, not that she would leave with Taryn or leave with Xaden and not choose Taryn, but I think there's plans. I think Sigel is like, I'm going with Xaden because this isn't over. He may be Venom, but this isn't over. We're gonna save him. And I think that she needs to be with him wherever the hell he is, and she knows she can't be mated to Taryn because it'll cause him too much pain.
Well, I think Taryn agreed to it because he probably would have ate little Andarna's ass up. He agreed to it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it was at the very end of the book when Xaden and Sigel are speaking to one another. After he's done this, and he says, "Are you going to forsake me?" And she says, "What is left to forsake?" They say, "We'll have to persuade him." And then she says, "We will ask, and her decision will determine our fate." They're not talking about Violet. They're talking about Andarna. Andarna's decision to sever their bonds will determine their fate because the only way this plan works is if they can separate themselves. Yeah.
That's right.
There's so many, and then there's another hidden meaning, I think. When she wakes up, and we'll talk about this moment because there's a lot of things in this moment that happen. But she wakes up and Brennan is next to her, and there's a note from Xaden, and the note says, "Don't look for me, it's yours now." The obvious thing is, don't look for me. You're the Duchess of Terrandor, the country that I love. It's yours now. But I don't think that's what that means.
This ain't cold.
No, it's his soul. Cold.
Oh yeah, and I think it's in the rating. Because he handed it to her. Because yeah, I think Brennan's on it too. Because he said, "Oh my gosh, what's in your hand? What's wrong with your hand?" She looked down at the ring, and she said, "Then he says, oh my God, here's a note. Like how much practice you gonna pull out the hat, buddy? Like what are you doing?"
Brennan may know. Brennan always knows everything.
Yeah, he does. I'm like, Brennan, you knew too. You was in on this too.
There's a moment in this very last scene though, when she wakes up, and his eyes bulge, and he looks me over for injury. Okay, and then there's another part where it says, he glances over my shoulder, quietly, my mouth opens and shuts. Where have I been? Weave. The officer's gaze darts to me. So they're all looking at her strangely. Brennan's eyes are bulging, and the officer is looking at her like,
What you think?
what do you, I think she became fully dedicated.
You
I
said
think
her
her
hair is all
entire
silver? Me too.
hair is silver. I think that was the only way. Now, Zayden says that the Priestess of Dune did owe them
Them a favor, but not that big of a favor.
but I think that this whole thing about her being touched by the god and how Dune can slice someone's soul from them, but then Loel can repair it. I think it's all about getting him back. I think she became dedicated so that she can get him back. I don't know what that means, but I think all of her hair is silver now.
So I'm going to throw this at you. So I think Satan was in the room. Because if you think about it, she says there was a shadow. Look at the end of the book. It's a shadow in the corner. I think he was there because he always talking about how to find me in the shadows.
She's in the courtyard, though.
I'm talking about when she woke up.
Yeah, it says Brennan shouts, racing down the steps of Ryerson House and into the moonlit courtyard. That's
keep going.
And then it says, sounds of celebration stream. I will not let them burn you. Why would they bother? Why would my brother burn me? Where have I been?
I should have marked it. Hold on.
I believe you though, because I do remember her saying something about shadows.
Mm-hmm.
So you think that he's like using his venom power to keep shadows around to like keep tabs on her?
I think no. I think that he was like. I feel like he was because 12 hours. Garrett can rebuild his power, so I think he came back with Garrett just to check and make sure Violet woke up and she was okay, and then he's gonna leave again.
Why do you think she had her memories erased?
So that they can interrogate her. That's the
About
first
like
thing they're gonna
where
do is
he is and stuff like that.
the first. That's why I feel like that's why the bond was between all of them was and Donna did what she did. I feel like the reason why her memories was erased so that nothing could come back on her. I feel like he had a plan. His main goal was to protect her at all costs. And
I don't think there's a reality though where we don't get this memory back.
you think? No, I think they're gonna get it in the dreams. I think we're gonna see.
I think Dane is going to bring it back. I think that even though she can't remember it, that Dane's going to retrieve it for her because he's so strong. Yes, I think that's going to be like his continuing on the redemption arc. I think he's going to bring it back for her.
That'll be good for him, but I also think that Zayden's gonna be dreaming of them getting married and saying their vows, and she's gonna be in his dream and see that.
I hope so.
I need to know the vows. I gotta
have the scene. I don't care if he's red-eyed and spider-veined. I need to see it.
Me too. Me too.
I wonder in my mind though, I picture like Bodhi as best man and his like Venice.
Two red eyes staring.
And I feel like the priestess did it because I think she knows. Like almost like maybe Zayden can take them down from the inside. There's still one part of him that's left.
Mm-hmm.
What if Violet's dad is in there and he is also not
still got a little piece of him
fully gone? Yeah, like what if they can together from the inside tear down the venom?
Oof, that'd be good shit. I would love that. Okay, so what do you think about? Okay, so it was mentioned a few times about Brennan's rune on his hand. What do you think about that?
So before I get into so when Sloane is siphoning from Dane to Brennan, Violet is shocked that there's not a mark on the back of Brennan's neck like there is on his hand because in her mind that was from when Naolan siphoned to resurrect him, but clearly that's not what it is. I think that Naolan is either using Brennan and can't like pulling him like a puppet master through the rune. Or there was something else I said and that would make all this betrayal people are coming for Brennan. Like they're like, Brennan is bad. Brennan is a traitor. He is a double agent. It would make all that a little bit easier on my heart to know if he was just being controlled by somebody else. But then there's also a theory, and this one I think this one makes more sense.
Maybe what I'm thinking
is that when a venom creates a wyvern, there is like a rune something inside of them.
Okay.
So when Naolan turned venom to create, or when Naolan turned venom to create, or to resurrect Brennan, it's like he created Brennan. So if anyone kills Naolan, I think Brennan will die. I think he's like a creation of a villain.
So my thought is that you know how they kept on talking about making these basically like slow release runes in the book. I think they only put that there, and it's like the rune is like it's only used for one thing, and the person who makes it is the only one that can activate it or something. I think Nail is waiting for something to activate the rune on his hand, and then he does something. I don't know what, but I feel like it's like he's
Like
like
he's
waiting to the
riding his
right moment.
time
Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
to use Brennan.
Mhm. Yeah.
But part of me hopes Naolin's not
Yeah.
bad. Part of me hopes Naolin's like Zayden and he's on the
No.
inside.
So I feel like Sloan got her singing to counteract Nail, and so I'm almost guaranteeing that Nail is winning because he's like they both are siphons. So
Yeah, because they pretty much said that in the book. That
yeah.
when there's a powerful signet, there will be a counteract signet.
Mhm.
That's why dude's got shadows because Zayden's got
Right.
shadows and he's Venom, so we have to counter.
Right.
There's another. I loved that moment for Zayden. It was like so sweet for Zayden to be like, "It's okay, go somewhere else in your mind, pull him back." It was like
It was so unlike him.
so sweet. I
Hmm.
was like,
Okay, so let's talk about who do you think are the six? Who
well,
are
first
your six?
talk about the excerpt at the beginning of chapter 2. Let me see if I
Okay,
can find,
wait, let me get
because
it.
this is where all this is coming from. It's quote. The rarest of signets, those that rise once in a generation or century, have manifested concurrently with an equal twice in our records. So they're talking about an equal. So shadows, lightning, whatever. Then they're saying both critical times in our history, but only once have the six most powerful walked the continent simultaneously. As fascinating as that spectacle must have been, I would rather not live to see it happen again. And this is a study on signets by Major Dalton Cisneros. So do you think it's from the first six and he's just talking about it, or do you think it's from right now?
The reason why I think it's for right now is because it doesn't say. Normally in the correspondence, the top or whatever they're called. What are they called? Is it
Like
correspondence?
like excerpts. I don't know what they're called.
Excerpts. Okay.
Whatever.
Typically, it'll say like it won't read like this, and I feel like it's happening now because they made a point to say that Zayden and Violet's
Haven't
are
been centuries.
right, and also that they're together essentially. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like with Imogen and Gary and Violet, Zayden, I feel like there's it's two more
So,
left in them.
so those four for sure. Like let's just
Yes,
go ahead and say for sure those four. Zayden, Shadows, Lightning, Violet, Imogen, Earth, Garrick, Distance. Those
yes.
four for sure.
Hmm.
My contenders for the next ones is Riddick
Me
because
too.
I think the not that ice is anything special, but the way
Ability.
growing it and the severity of what he can do with it. I think maybe Arik having a precog, like I don't know how much that's gonna help in like the battle, but to me, to be able to see the future is like the biggest thing in the world. Like
Yeah, I
his
agree.
even better than Melgreen because Melgreen can only see battles. Arik can see everything.
Everything. Yeah, and it's not even fully developed yet.
But also, so Sloan has she's a siphon, but she has a relic. So who's to say that in the next book Sloane's not gonna get freaking time wielding or something crazy, and we're gonna be like, what?
I
Like,
know.
there's no
It's going to be the
outside of
fight to
those
the civics.
four. I don't feel like I can say like this for sure.
Neither. Neither.
Because
Because Riddick, they made a point to say they have never seen anybody that can do like
what
freeze what
freeze
Riddick does.
water in their body, like that's
Like he
crazy.
was killing the wyvern by taking the blood and freezing them in their
And they were
body on his dragon. And yeah, like buddy, that's badass.
boys because he'd probably be my number one. Like I love him so
Me
much.
too.
I love him.
So do you okay, so number one in Darna, I know we're flipping back and forth, guys, but this is what we do.
That's like
Remember when Anna told at the end of the book, she said, I'm not gonna let them burn you. What do you think she's talking about? I got a couple theories. Well, one theory. I think that
I think that when someone like gets accused of something
treason
by
and
by the dragons or by dragon the Empyrean or whatever, they get burnt, right? Like that's how they.
well, it says that writers are burned if they commit treason or break the codex.
Well, I'm sure Marion of Venin is probably against the rules.
Not if,
I'm gonna go out on a limb, guys, and say we're probably not supposed to do that.
but not if he's a shadow daddy. You don't matter.
Right? I don't. I'm support it. I would have been her flower girl. I sign his Bodhi single. Let's work. But I think Dane is going to be really important too.
I
Like
do too. I do too.
it's like I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know
I can
either, but
honestly see Rhiannon being like general one day, like taking over.
I could too. But I don't think they're gonna give it to her. I don't. I really don't. I hope they do. I hope she makes it. So, was you laughing or was you not laughing at the dad's when they went to that shop and that lady was it the dad's mother and that had the books for Violet and
Yeah.
she was trying to get all the tea from them, girl. I was cracking
Yeah. Oh gosh,
up.
when she said your father explained him perfectly, and they all thought it like she's like Dane Atos, and Zayden's
Yes.
standing there, and he's like, "No, my name's Zayden. I'm the guy." Oh my gosh, I think the next 2 years are going to be rough,
Oh my gosh, yes.
and I fully understand why she needs a break because I cannot even imagine writing something like I cannot imagine the effort.
I know.
It hurts my brain to read it sometimes. Like I have to go back and be like, what? And then it like all the twists and turns, all the plot, all the different characters. I cannot imagine that will make a break. But as a reader,
We
man,
don't care. We need you to
man,
hurry up.
don't release the next one until 4 and 5 are ready. Just do that for us. Like
Do a combo.
take 3
Yes.
years and release both the books at the same time because I cannot keep
Which,
doing this.
no. No.
No. And like it's always I mean, she is the queen of cliffhangers.
And that's the worst part because this
Queen
book,
of cliffhangers.
when I tell you, I looked at the page and I was like, okay, we got a couple, because there's a couple more pages after that last page. And then I get to the damn acknowledgments. Like, man, what are you doing? What's this?
When she looks at Imogen and says, "What have you done?" and Imogen says, "What you asked me to do," nobody knows. Imogen doesn't know. Like in my brain, Violet went to Imogen with all this information and everything that just happened and said, "Erase it
Yes.
from my," because I don't want him to be sought after. I don't want anybody to question me. Maybe it hurt. Like maybe it hurts. Like just
Yeah.
take it away from
Maybe.
me. Face it. And so nobody in my mind, nobody knows.
Or maybe, what if Imogen is badass and she can not only erase them, but she can give your memories back to you? And that would be a badass right there.
I mean, Imogen is the like being a badass. That's why it hurt bad when. That's why.
Literally, that, and like,
Sorry, I've got it on film. Me crying like a baby, like wiping my hands on my pillow and stuff.
when I text you and said I can't take anymore, that's where I was at. I can't take anymore. Like I was done.
The only okay, so I want to redact one of the things I said, or not redact it, but say like this is the only piece of evidence I have against it is being Venom.
Who give in?
Ash.
Her dad.
So, yeah, this is the only piece of evidence I have against it.
Okay.
Is when Lilith was dying, she said, "I'll get to see him soon."
What if she don't know?
You think she doesn't? She think he's a Venom and she doesn't know?
I don't know. I put.
You need to go talk to Nana.
You need to go talk to who?
Nana. Granny.
Yes, she knows.
Granny Sorrengill. You can go talk to her because she knows some stuff. And I don't think Mira
knows too. I think Mira knows. Not
Mira
as much as the granny knows.
More information than that. I think there's more.
I think there's more too, and I think she knows where her son is happening too. Because who's not gonna go see their mom?
But see, like when Violet says we don't know our parents at all, I'm like, you really don't.
No.
I don't know because I got in the fourth wing. I'm like, mom's bitch. Dad was a saint and loved his daughter and all this stuff. And then in Iron Flame, I'm like, okay, mom's not a bitch. I get it. Like I have kids. I would do whatever it takes to keep them safe. I understand. And then in this book, all the cryptic like notes between each other, and I'm like, so who was the were they?
What are y'all doing?
What are y'all doing? Like, you were to have her dedicated and then changed your mind,
And
and
then she says there, what did she say in the excerpt? If they find out, I cannot believe he took her or something like that. Like I
I
can,
don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive him.
yes, that's what.
So that's why he
Yes,
did it without her even knowing about it. So
yes,
I'm like,
yes.
okay, Papa Sorrengail is not as sweet and nice
As
as,
we thought. That's
but
why I said.
he's leaving her all these clues and he's writing these books for her, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like when Violet says, I don't know our parents, me neither. 2 years.
I hope she really don't. I hope she just takes this year off. Make okay the summer, and then start writing in the fall, and then maybe it can be ready by next summer. Because why would she make us wait on this cliffhanger like this? This is awful. This cliffhanger was worse than the last one. I didn't like. I don't like it.
Oh yeah, this book hangover was worse than the last one too. And I think I like foolishly convinced myself I was getting answers. And I was like that I wouldn't be as confused at the end of this book. And I do feel like I have a much better handle on some theories. Like I do feel like the gods are gonna be I think we're gonna see them in person. I
You
really do.
think so? I think they're going to be very important. Yes.
I think they may come. I think she may see maybe even in her dreams. Like she may see
Oh,
Loel.
that'll be cool.
Yeah. I think they're going to be extremely important. And everyone keeps talking about the 6 riders and the 6 dragon dens and the 6.
Yes.
What
Yeah,
if it's all 7? Like, what if we're missing an entire, like, deity, an entire,
I agree.
like, because
Because
we
I
have
agree.
dens of dragon now, not just 6.
I agree. Did you
And
see how they was placed? Like I seen a map. How all the dens are placed around the continent,
yeah.
like in a complete circle. So I feel like the other one could be in the aisle somewhere.
And I also saw something where it was like each god
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
corresponding dragon. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, the wisdom is the green dragon, and like that's Rhiannon.
Mm-hmm.
And like the what is it? The black is done, and that's Violet.
Mm-hmm.
But each one would have a corresponding,
I seen that
and
too.
that would be 7 deities, 7 dragons, 7 signets.
Yeah. So
Do you
I know.
think do you think the gifts from Zanal mean anything?
I absolutely do. I think that compass is going to let her find Jaden.
See, I don't. Okay, so it's 2 pirates. Do you know the compass in Pirates of the Caribbean where it like leads the treasure that he wants? That's all I can think of when I think about this broken compass leading her somewhere. I'm like, what?
I really think that it's the Isles of Luck, and I think that Zayden's empty box is going to mean something too. I really do. I don't
Well,
know what, but I do think that Compass is going to find let her find him because she's not got to sit up there and not look for him. She's great. She's go
no, but
ahead
I
and
do think that her being Duchess of Tyrrendor is
it's
going to be important to her. I think that she knows, next to Violet, that's the only thing Zane cared about.
yeah,
That's the only thing. So I do think she's going to
be more political. Hmm.
selfishly make everything about Zayden from this point forward. I think she's going to try to save the continent and try to defeat the Venom, and in doing so, figure everything else out with
Hmm.
Zayden.
I do think she's going to be sitting in there on the assembly. They're going to be mad, but she's going to be there and she's going to be laying down the hammer and they're going to listen to her because she's the one in power. Yeah.
Now she's got a title. Now
Yeah.
she still has the strongest dragon, the rarest dragon.
And she's
She's
got the protection.
connection with the Irids, and
Hmm.
that's not even a good one, but it's a connection with the Irids.
And also, he got her an army.
Yeah,
And he got her army because in one of the excerpts, it was saying that someone is sending an army for her. And he then stole those damn eggs to get some more army people for him.
it was the army of
Marcy.
Zanal. That was the one they agreed to it, and so Eric had him come as reinforcements because he knew they were going to need him.
Mm-hmm. And then yeah. He, I
What
think
about what about the dragon eggs?
I think he took him. I think Eric, because Eric was seen flying. I think he's one of the four that's missing. Eric was seen flying south. South is the Isles. So I feel like
He went to
it,
go get the army of Dun.
no,
Here's your
he got
dragon.
he. He got some of the damn eggs. They can
Well,
okay.
remember the queen asked for
Mm-hmm.
eggs, and then she would give them her army.
Yeah.
So do you think that Eric's like, we're gonna lose if we don't do this? So like, let's
Yes.
do like
Yes.
here's 6. Here's your down payment. Send half
Yes.
and then
Yes.
we'll give you the other 6.
Eric seen how when he's like, oh no, we need to get this lady her eggs.
Right.
Yeah, I do.
And it's so funny to me in all the histories of the first 6 and how they defeated the Venom. They didn't defeat them.
No,
They drove them into the Barrens.
I couldn't see nothing because they wouldn't be here.
Right. So they don't have the answer. They drove
Yeah,
them. I don't know how they drove them back, but they drove them back into the Barrens and
and
then
they
put up
came back more powerful.
the wards. So they never were defeated.
Even
I think we have a lot of battles ahead of us.
we do. We have a lot of waiting. We have a lot of more theories that's probably gonna pop in our heads.
And I think it's just the third book, third of 5.
But I think okay, so she says she does her books on a W. So in fourth wing we go what down, and then arm flame is up. We're going down on this one, so hopefully we're gonna go up. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either because I don't.
Hopefully we. I mean,
They didn't cure it in the next book. I think this is going to be a finale act for sure. I think defeating them and curing Zayden will be a finale act, but I don't know. Some people said that they think Zayden will be cured at the end of book 4, and then book 5 will be about defeating the villain.
that would be good. I would like that much better
Yes.
because I don't want to draw out the him being Venom and him not being away. I want some type of hope. I want to see how they can be together as full people, not Bennett. You know what I'm saying? I want to see because in this book he openly expresses his love for her, like openly expresses.
Most romantic of the 3 books.
Yeah, so I feel like
Committed to her. He is letting everyone know. Like he
yes,
shy away from her. Not even when he knows he should. And they, I mean, 100% committed to one another. It
I
was nice.
just
It was nice while it lasted.
it was, and then I feel like that's why I said I feel like for them to be two whole people with the openness of their relationship, the romance, the loyalty to each other. I feel like we need that in book 4. We've had enough. We've had enough. This is too much for us.
I don't think we're gonna get it. If he gets cured, it'll be at the end of book 4.
I'll take
I'm
it.
not against there being some moments with him being a villain. I don't care.
I don't either. I don't either, but I don't want it to be like I don't know. I don't want it to be like
Even like you said, maybe in their dreams. Maybe they'll have moments in their dreams.
no, I do think it's gonna be some spicy dream scenes. I'm not even gonna hold you. I do think it's gonna be some spicy, and it's gonna feel like yes.
Yeah.
And I do think that she's gonna, like you said, she's gonna figure out some things in those dreams from the Venom or from because Pancheck is Heifer the whole time. Pancheck.
It was gonna be Ados. I thought for sure it was gonna be Colonel Ados, and it was freaking Pancheck.
Girl, when I read that name, I said, "This bastard." No, he didn't.
I never liked him, but I didn't think he was the
He would
traitor.
go that, but but he wanted that power.
I thought it was Ados. Well, and then he died because dude drained his dragon, so he's dead too.
Huh? That's what he did.
Yeah, such an idiot.
That's what happens when you
When are
only
people
see power.
the Venom?
What you said?
I said, when are people gonna quit trusting the Venom?
I don't know. I don't know. These fools. Like, what's wrong with you? Because
What do you
the Alchemy said, she said, we gonna lie to you. She told her.
think the Irids created the Venom?
That's interesting.
Well, because they keep talking about how corrupt we are and how violent. What if they created the Venom to take us out? And
That'd be.
that's why they don't.
Ooh, and you be saying my mind is out there, girl, like that.
Well, because they just keep saying that the Venom are pure, or the Irids are pure magic,
Right. And they can do anything they want, basically.
and they're not. And the reason then when they're on the island and they see Zayden, his turn red in their presence. He didn't channel. They they brought it out. So what if their magic is what created the venom? And so that's why his eyes turned red.
That's good. I like that. That'd be some shit. And then you want to talk about we corrupt and you the one brought these badass people around us.
Right. Right. You're talking about how we're violent and you created soul sucking venom.
Right. That would be, if that happens, my mind will be blown because the audacity.
Like they are like terrible though. Like when I'm so excited to meet the Urids.
And
And
I was so let down.
I was disappointed. I'm like
And I
and
felt so bad for Aunt Arna because she was so excited about meeting her people, and then I'm not doing nothing.
then there's literally a part where they're like, you are dangerous and you are so violent. And she's like, thank you. And they're like, that's not a compliment. Do you know what we've been through? It is a compliment. She is a badass, and Darna deserves all that hype. Like,
all the accolades, yeah.
so don't tell me like that's not a compliment. That's
Right.
what I really loved that moment when she said it's so easy to have the privilege of peace when you have done nothing to deserve. Like we're the ones fighting the venom, and right, we're not all good, and we are corrupt, and there are things we could fix. But are you really going to sit back and let all these people die just to prove a point? Like
Right. Right. That'll make sense.
crazy.
But I feel like they're gonna come in off the strength of Aunt Anna because we don't know why she left. We don't know if she got the information that she needed, which I hope she did, or did she feel like, okay, I'm not doing this with y'all because I see
Right,
some bad things with you.
you're awful.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
I am scared though.
why?
Because how many times have we heard him say, "You're going to be the death of me"?
Oh no, I don't want to think about it.
So in Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, multiple times he tells her, "You're going to be the death of me." And then the entire first half of this book, he is training her to kill him, to recognize his shadow. And he says, when it comes time, you're going to be the one to do it. You're going to have to do it.
Do you know how angry I would be to have read 5 books and say,
But maybe she'll kill him and then go to Malik and bring him back. I don't know. There's something about that. Rebecca Yarros would not keep putting it in there. You're going to be the death of me. You're going to have to be the one that knows how to kill me. You need to recognize which shadows are mine so that you can be the one to kill me if there wasn't going to be a moment where that is
I'm just saying, I'm gonna have to find her PO box because I'm gonna have to write her. Bam, you can't do things like this. Because
right.
that would like
I need you to rewrite that and
yes, and republish. Grab how much it costs. You got it.
I don't know. I think it's so odd that he says that over and over and over.
That would be awful. And that would I think that would kill Violet because he is her everything. That would tear her apart. Even though she's got a ratio, I don't know. Not
Her
having
and her dragons. I don't know. She says over and over, "You're my soul, my heart, my."
yeah,
And let's talk about for the first 2 books. This was a huge change too. For the first 2 books, he calls her Violence. That's her
yeah.
name. Now it's Love. He calls her Love.
Listen, let me
I
tell
think it's
you.
a reference to the gods again.
Oh, really?
Yes,
The
I
love guy.
think by done. So that's why he's always called her Violence. But now I think she's going to be touched by the god of love, and that's why this whole book he was calling her Love.
That's cool. I didn't ever think of that.
I think her being touched by multiple gods is what's going to be the
I do think she's gonna when they say
war and love.
she commands the sky. I think all the God is gonna do something with her. I don't know, but that the commands the sky. Tara never calls her a lightning bolter, and I feel like that's gonna be the guys is gonna have a key role into her doing something. I don't know yet because we're not that far, but something's gonna happen.
This was amazing.
It
It was.
was.
I'm
Did
so
you tab too? I didn't tab a whole lot. Maybe for my reread, I'm a tab. I didn't tab a whole lot. I was trying to fly through it. Like when we was like, "Oh, we're gonna go ahead and read the whole thing," that
I do plan on rereading this at some point. We
I
have
have to.
a lot more books to read for the podcast, so I don't know when I'll get to it, but definitely plan on rereading this.
Absolutely.
I'm a little heartbroken. I need to put some distance between me and Zayden and Violet. because otherwise, if I reread it right now, I won't be able to think about anything else for the next 2 weeks. So I need to accept what is.
And then not to mention every social you have, it pops up, so you thinking about everything all over again.
And I love it and hate it. I have a love-hate relationship with social media because I can't get away from it, but I don't want to.
Right, you don't want to, yeah.
I want to read all the theories. I want to watch all the memes. I want to watch all the AI projections. She says she has everything's plotted.
I know.
And
That's why I
so
said, why is it going to take that long to write it? Why are we waiting 2 years?
It's a little bit easier to write knowing how everything's going to end up. But I think it's just the process of like putting it all together. I mean, I can't imagine.
I know I can't either, but like you said, we're readers and we are.
And part of me is like, just
so,
and then we'll leave you alone. Like, just give us all, and then you'll never hear from us again.
I think she gets off on this shit though. She likes this. She loves this.
Well,
yeah.
That she has the playlist for 4 already, so like maybe she is already sort of thinking it through and doing stuff. But she did say she was going to write a contemporary, which
I hope it's like 2 pages long.
That for her. Love my fantasy spicy brain. Loves that for her.
I love you. The end.
I'm really gonna not so patiently wait for book 4, but that's okay because we have a lot of exciting books we're gonna cover.
Yes, we do.
And that's telling myself.
Yes, we are. We have a lot of books we're gonna go over.
We're gonna read everything and anything. We're gonna read fantasy. We're gonna read smut. We're gonna read historical. Whatever you want us to read is what we're gonna read.
Yes, we're excited.
We are. That is 2, 3, lots of dusty books because we wait for things like go into our hiding caves for our hangover. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sitting through all of our mindless conversation, a lot of back and forth, a lot of, oh yeah, what about this? And oh yeah, what about that? I can't promise that it'll be any better next week. It'll probably be the same.
Because it's how we do.
Yes.
We love bouncing ideas off of each other.
If you had some theories in your head and they were exploding and we got to talk about them, then hopefully that gave you a little comfort.
Yeah. And if we thought of something you didn't think of, that's what we're here for.
Tell us. We are for every theory, for every, for every hypothetical, everything. Thank you for listening. If you made it through the end, this is our first episode, first podcast, neither one of us are podcasters. We are open to any and all suggestions on how we can cover the books clearly or better or what you would rather us talk about. If you want to like or comment on this podcast or go over to our socials, Booktrovert Besties, we got all of them. Join us over there for some fun content that we don't get to cover on the podcast. And actually, we're going to be posting a video in the next couple of days of the next book that we're going to cover and let you know. That way you're all along next week.
Yes, follow along, read with us so we can have this chit chat with each other.
Yes. All right. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.